lignin lignin not cellulose transformation to bioethanol from woody biomass. The work is based on work of on review of bioethanol production from woody biomass, recent advances on the effects of pretreatments on the bioconversion process and energy use aspects. The work is made by from Lebanon, in Lebanon from University of Balamand, and work is using how to change enzymatic and to lignin separation and to obtain wood and to obtain fermentable sugars and lignin rest from wood. So here we saw in case of comparison of share of energy from renewable sources because carbon sugar seems to be the best for fermentation as the produce energy. And we see that between 2019 and 2021, in case of 20, up to was increasing in case of Norway, after the COVID-19 jump the strict very highly in both Norway, Luxembourg, and Ireland. The only Iceland wasn't changed. Therefore, we see that Christ are not familiarized with developing renewable energies. However, we have different difference of gymnosperms and not leafster, hardwood. So we have different case how hydrolysis works. As wood is required per treatment, and there is, if we have to cellulose, we have fermentation bioethanol that can be biofuel. In case of pentose, we can also produce the case is similarly that we have for distillation and liquid for treatment also in case chemicals good for pentose reeds and also by distillation to the bioethanol. Because here we have mostly to bioethanol, not to hydrogen or other products, also to bioethanol as biodiesel, and in this focus this work. The work is that we get another the concentration is logarithmic function is going per treatment. Was it's also variation, which is showing how much factor, how much is hydrolyzed is 100 and minus pH. It is the combined severity factor. This is the huge and typical factor for measuring the efficiency of hydrolysis. This is the comparison of different trees. So we have here poplar, hemp, eucalyptus, birch, different uses. And we see that pine is mostly available due to much availability and springing, and this shows us that we have the useful about pine, less in case of eucalyptus. These are most according to most developing the source, so and birch. These are 50 most typical. And therefore, we get the solution that we have several catalysts. Catalysts are very important because photocatalysts how to break in this hydrolysis short. They were chemical pretreatment, mostly high solution sulfur or sodium. Sulfuric acid is more corrosive, which is the biggest trouble in this case. Therefore, we have phosphoric acid, and this is big trouble of the side of this case, and thus we get the usefulness and the delignification, corn stovers, sugarcane baggers. This is the most other cases which is really liquid. And hydrogen sulfide is corrosive, but not so efficient that in case of hydroxide, there are also organic compounds gonna solve. And as remember, you have also photocatalytic and which due to sun and some mechanical catalytic due to steering, and other method is chemical compound is using eutectic and eutectic hard and organic compounds that can be used, for example, for lowering, but are quite expensive. Or ionic liquid, doing to ions can solve it. But still, ionic liquids are more expensive than eutectic. Therefore, eutectic is more suitable. However, still much expensive, more expensive than acidic. So acidic, in case if we want to deal with not so corrosive and mixing with other, is still most efficient one. So these are two varieties and how to difference, and the biomass still is using. So second, water due enzymatic, then anaerobic digestion biomethane, or enzymatic hydrolysis, fermentation, and bioethanol. These are two parts. The lignin now can be to nanoparticles and used as polymer replacement in renewal stage. We have many equations how to make, and it's quite how the uses during using the gas constant and how it's going to methane. And pretreatment share consumption in fuel ethanol production, the biggest consumption is in detoxification, so the separation from lignin, and this is the biggest trouble of energy sharing. If we eliminate this part, so using cleaning and separation of sugar, then we'll have much less required energy. So here is the key point for designing to overcome and make process more cheap and more economical. So here we are different case sources. Short review of the question based on this article of Professor Zulika Marcheresu from Lebanon and University of Balmain. Thank you very much for listening to me.